All right, so we've jumped into our 3D view by going to the View tab, going to 3D View, going to Default 3D View, and we can see that we have levels. It's set level 1 and level 2 at 10 feet. And we can look at these, and if we turn this stuff around, we start orbiting, we can see right away that these walls are definitely taller than 10 feet, okay? If I were to then go ahead and select one of these walls, it highlights, I put my mouse over it, I click on it, it highlights, and then I can see the properties of the wall. This wall was drawn with a finished face interior location line. Pull this over to see it more. It is base constraint is level 1. That means the bottom of this is set to level 1. The base offset is 0. So level 1, it's sitting on level 1. It's not above it or below it by a distance. The top constraint is unconnected, and it has an unconnected height of 20 feet. All right. If we want this to be set at a given height, one nice good thing to get used to doing is connecting it to a level. So if I wanted to then say, I want all of my walls to be connected to level 2 at 10 feet, I can then edit all of my walls by moving the level, and they all move together. Something very valuable because generally the building has most of all of its walls are the same height. That way the roof is square and level and everything else. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Select a wall, go to top constraint, click on unconnected, and then you get this little arrow that shows up. Click on that little arrow, and then click on level 2. You can hit apply at the bottom of your property, or if you just mouse back in the drawing, it'll apply. And you can see now that this is a smaller wall. That's because this wall is now set to level 2. Okay? We will do this to all the walls. A better way to do this, instead of clicking one wall and doing it to this wall, and then this wall, and this wall, and this wall, if you hold down your control key on your keyboard, and you click on one wall, another wall, another wall, notice they all highlight now together, you can do a multiple selection. So get these walls here, and change these to be level 2. And they all update. Okay? Now, CAD is about doing it fast. You can pan across these walls and highlight them all and change it. Yet, if you have a huge project, that could be pretty tedious and time consuming, especially if you have a roof and other things in the way. You can also select one wall, right click, go to select all instances, either visible or in the entire project. So I want, this project's not that big, so I'm going to say in the entire project, I want all instances of the basic wall 8x16 CMU. Notice they all turn blue. Now, the location line is blank because there's 3 different location lines because of the way we drew the walls. Base constraint is level 1 because they all have a level 1. Top constraint is blank because 4 of them are based off of level 2. So if I click in the blank cell and then pull down the blank pull down, now I can pick things. So I'm going to tell them all, go to level 2. I'm going to come back to my drawing and they all update. Okay? Click off of them and now you have walls set to your level. 3D view, going from your 3D view to what is called the elevation views. Okay? Because this is all fine and good, but in order to be able to see something very clearly, you need to kind of orbit and do this and line it up, or you got to hit your front view so it locks up in place, and it really is still a 3D view, so you're limited in a lot of things you can do. What I want you to do now is in your project browser, find the elevations. Go to the east elevation, and you can now clearly see level 1, level 2, 10 feet, and now you can see that these walls are locking up to those 10 feet. Okay. If I were to go to the north elevation, I can now see I have 3 sets of walls. Okay. And they're all locking to 10 feet. Now, the beauty of locking something to an elevation is that if I zoom in on the elevation and I select the elevation twice, double click on the number, and let's say I change this to be 8 feet and hit enter. I've just changed all the walls together using the level. So locking things to levels is a very valuable tool to make this work. All right, if you're jumping to elevation, let's say you jump to south and you don't have any walls, okay? What's happening is it's based back here on your level 1. And if you zoom out, what you're going to see is a little box and a little arrow, all right? These are your elevation symbols. Not only are they symbols, they're also location lines. So that if I select the little or not the box, but the triangle on the top, this line is denoting the viewable plane that you are seeing. If anything is not in front of this viewable plane in this view, you will not see it. So if I highlight my walls, and I'm just going to move them outside of this viewable plane, and I go to that viewable plane, my walls are way over here now, okay? Because I've moved them over here. If I go back to my level 1, and I highlight these walls, and I move them back to the center, and then I go back to this plane, there they are, they're back to center. So the elevation symbols are important, okay? You can move these elevation symbols by clicking on the wall, moving this wall. So if I want to move my elevation and cut a building in half to see things, we can do that, okay? Not the way I'm going to tell you how to cut a building in half to see the inside, though, all right? There's a totally different tool to do that, all right? But if you can't find something, that's how you can go find it, okay? All right, so let's do some basic things here. We're going to add some stuff to this building. What I'm going to do is back to the architecture tab at the top. We're not doing a wall, we're doing a door. All right, so I'm going to select the door. Then again, we come over to properties, single flush. This is a 36 by 84 inch. If you pull this down, look at all these doors. Okay, now this is just a very small smattering of the doors that are available. All right, if we hit load family, this little arrow, blue arrow, pull down, load family. This now gets us into the Revit U.S. Imperial Library. U.S. Imperial means inches, okay, inches and feet. And we slide down to the doors. Go to the doors. Commercial, hardware, residential, and then we have these doors, okay? So if we wanted to see these doors, we can then see previews of these doors over here. For you guys, you have to right-click to get the preview. For me, for some reason I left-click and I get what I need. This is just the way my Windows is set up. And then I can use my tabs or my arrows to go up and down. If I go into residential, there's another whole list of doors, okay? Tons of doors. So I'm going to look for a door. I'm going to look for a door. I'm going to use, for me, oh, let's just go down here. Let's use this door. Door, exterior, single entry, half arc glass, wood, cladded. So I got my door. Hit open. What size do I want? I want a 36 by 80. 36 is a standard opening for an entry door, 36 inches wide, ADA compliant, all right, American Disabilities Act, and 80 inches is a standard height, all right? So 6'8" is a standard height for a residential door. Anything bigger is not standard. I would say it's standard, but generally for an 8-foot ceiling, you want this size door. We hit OK, and now we mouse over a wall. When you mouse over your wall, now you have a host. You can move around to drop your door. Drop your door. Okay, drop a door. Hit escape twice, and you're out of your doors. So your doors are in. If I go to my 3D view, what I should be able to do is zoom in and take a look at the doors that have been placed. So with this, we now have set up how to edit the height of your walls and place doors. What we'll do is we'll start up with windows. Or actually, we'll go ahead and throw a few windows in here again. I'm not going to save my project. I'll jump into level 1. I'll go back to architecture to grab my window tool. And again, I'm not going to go into load family, but I'm going to use the fixed window that is basic preload here in Revit. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a window in position. In a later video, we're going to start talking about how to actually position these windows to a given dimension after we put them in. So these have been placed. We have windows, we have doors, and in the next video, we'll talk about how to position all of this to a given dimension.